Hello folks, welcome. I'm back again. I've been away doing a bit of travelling. I went to had to go back to England because I hadn't been back there for quite a while, and I wanted to see my children, and in fact it was a big event because my son and his wife, were expecting a baby, so the baby finally came. And it was a bit late actually, the baby, but the baby finally came, and so he was born on the 20th of October, Thomas Andrew Leach. He weighed in at 9.1 pounds, so he was quite a lump. Anyway, so yeah, so now I'm back here, back in Pennsylvania, and just this last weekend I did a workshop over in New York at the Peekskill Clay Studio. So big hi to Ben and all those up there at the Peekskill Clay Studio. Had a great time up there, and we were a small group. I think we were about 10 of us, and it was just one day, and just basically a sort of demo, hands-on type workshop. Well, I kind of like working like that, sort of demonstrating and then trying to teach people as well. So yeah, we had a fun time, and made some pots, and hopefully people picked up some good tips. Anyway, what I've done now, I'm back here in my studio here in Pennsylvania. I've moved my kick wheel, my Leach kick wheel or Leach treadle wheel. I've got actually several of these, but I've got two inside here, as you can see, and I was just thinking, you know, at this time of year, our pottery studios can become quite cold, and I was just thinking of a few tips maybe for making our pottery studios a little bit more inviting, because if your pottery studio is not inviting to you, if it's a cold place where you're not going to want to go, then you really need to, you know, change that to make it more inviting and a nicer atmosphere for you to work. If you're going to spend several hours outside in your studio working, you want it to be, obviously you don't want it to be freezing cold, you want the temperature to be a reasonably good temperature. So you want to get yourself some form of heating. And here in this studio where I am, this is my little inside studio. I'm not even bothering to try to heat the outside studio just for myself at the moment. But what you can do is, as you can see here, behind where the camera was, you can see I've got draped here. It's basically a partition, so you can separate with plastic areas in your studio where you can make a smaller workspace, which is a lot easier to heat. As you can see, I've got an oil-filled radiator there. And another thing that you're going to need is water that is not freezing cold. So this water is actually warming up. I've got the stove on very low, but it gives a continual heat, and it's heating the water. So another trick is you can use one of these plate warming, or, you know, for keeping your food warm on the table type heaters. They're very low electricity, low electrical consumption, and I've got in here some water, you see, which is, it just keeps it and I can actually, on this particular one, I can adjust it So I can have it on low or high. Well, have it on low. It just keeps it nice, you see, which is what you want. And I have 3 or 4 of these guys, which I've collected over time, and which are very useful also for drying pots on. Okay, if you need to dry out pots, you can use them for that. So you need to keep your studio warm. You need to keep the water warm. What else? Yes, well, don't forget the clay. If you're going to be throwing the following day, the next day, bring your clay in the night before. 2 or 3, you know, maybe a box of clay. Bring it inside, and keep it at the the temperature inside your house. So don't leave it outside in the studio, not in the cold part of your studio anyway. So bring your clay in. You'll find that will make a big difference. Otherwise, you're going to be trying to knead clay, wedge clay that's freezing cold. That's not a pleasant experience, is it? So there you go. There's just a few tips. Getting ready for winter. You know, wear some warm clothes. Another thing that is important is your floor. What are you walking on? What are you walking on? What are you treading on with your shoes? Because don't walk on concrete. You really want to put some of that padded insulative. You can buy those square sections that sort of interlock together. You can buy. Get yourself where you're going to be walking most of the time, where you're going to be working, at your wedging bench, around your wheel, etc. Lay out an area with that insulative material on the floor to stop that cold coming up through into your shoes, into your feet. Okay, you'll stay warmer if you do that. Another tip is wear a hat. Now, I don't necessarily recommend one of these hats, but because this hat is a bit holy. But you can wear a woolly cap. All right. Keep your feet warm, keep your head warm, and wear something on your body that is. I'm wearing one of these kind of. It's a sort of fairly insulative type of waistcoat underneath my apron, which leaves my hands free. You see, I can get down to business. I can work the clay. I can wedge the clay. I can work here on the wheel. You see, my arms are nicely free. I can roll up my sleeves easily. Okay, but my body is keeping warm. My head is warm. My hands are warm because of the warm water that I'm using to throw with. So throwing water, have it slightly on the warm side. Don't make it hot, but just warm. And your hand washing water also, just have it so it's comfortable, but not too hot. Just a nice temperature. If it's too hot, it'll open up the pores of your skin too much, and you might be susceptible to getting chapped hands. You just want to take the edge off the water, okay? So, just a few preparatory tips there for us as we're going into this colder phase of the year. And sometimes us potters, we don't have the luxury, do we, of having a nicely centrally heated, warm studio. Some of us are lucky that we do have them, but many of us don't. We pot outside in a potting shed or in a garage or what have you. So so we need to use our common sense to stay warm. Anyway, I'm not going to actually do any teaching right now on this clip because I think we're running out of time. But I'm going to be actually running here a workshop anyway before Christmas. So I don't know whether I'll manage 2 workshops. Again, from a teaching point of view, whether I have enough space that I can actually keep warm enough to really make it worthwhile running a workshop. But I'm going to try to run 1 workshop anyway, sometime in the next few weeks. So check out my website, simonleachpottery.com, if you're interested in a end of the year pottery workshop experience here in central Pennsylvania. Check that out and get in touch and come along. Okay, well, good to be back with you, and we keep practicing. See you around. Bye bye. We keep practicing. Indeed we do.